Hey, what is up? Kate the Great here. Welcome back to my channel. It's really nice to have you here. Today I'm going to break down 5 moves that everyone should be doing. I want to see you doing these moves. Everyone should be doing them. I'm going to break down each move individually, all 5 moves, and then I'm going to give you checkpoints for you to execute them properly. Here we go. I'm so excited. Get excited. I like to call these foundational moves. Moves that, again, everyone should be doing. You should know how to do these. They're a good basic layout of moves for you to build upon within your exercise routine, or if you're just starting out, if you're a beginner, these moves are awesome to get down. And when I say foundation, I mean, you know when you build a house and you lay down the foundation to build the structure up. Like, have I built the house? No, that's how I hear it goes. But what I want you to do is take these moves. I really encourage you to do them along with me. I will be laying each one out. I'm gonna go super slow. Just follow along with me. Look at yourself in a mirror. Try to see if you're doing them right. Absorb all the checkpoints. Absorb what I say. Make sure to give this video a like. Subscribe down below so you can always refer back to this video. Getting down the checkpoints, learning how to do the moves, they will go a long way if you get these down. I promise. I would not steer you in the wrong direction. Something to keep in mind as I go through these moves is that everyone is unique. Everyone is individual with individual goals, individual progress, individual bodies. If you're thinking like, Kate, I'm listening to what you're saying, I'm not getting it, my form is off, I'm not feeling it in the muscles that you said, I work one-on-one with people and I teach them how to implement these moves within their own progress, within their own journey for whatever goals they have. These are specific moves that can be implemented into many different goals, many different paths, many different individuals. We're all unique. What I want you to do is click the link in the description. It'll pop you on over to me. We can have a little chit chat about these moves and how they work for you. Okay, let's go. The 5 moves are how to learn to balance on one leg. Well, we're learning to balance on both legs, but individually with no help. Learning to balance with no help is the end goal. Just keep that in mind. Exercise number 2, a deep squat hold, learning to get all the way down. Remember when we were little kids and we could just like pop down into a squat like no problem? If you see a toddler or a baby, they can pop down like it's nothing. As we get older, we seem to have lost that. We are getting it back. Exercise number 3, we are doing a glute bridge. The glutes, the glutes, the glutes, the glutes. I'm all about firing the glutes, getting them to work properly, actually activate them, and then using them in the bridge. The glutes are a huge stabilizer of what is called the lumbopelvic hip complex. They are great for stabilizing the hip, the low back, the knees, the feet, everything. Exercise number 4, we are doing what is called a external rotation of the arm. I'm going to call them jar openers. Jar like a peanut butter jar or jelly jar or any kind of jar, like a mason jar, anything that you want to picture yourself opening. And the last one is a plank. I love planks. You've seen me do them on this channel. I love them for stabilization of the core, learning to brace. It'll also work your upper body, gripping the floor, all of that. Here we go. This is so exciting. Stay with me. Learn it. It's your body, it's your life. We are starting off with the balance. We're gonna pop over to demo Kate. You're gonna start with one foot on the floor. You can use the other foot as a kickstand for now. So you're going to grip your toes into the floor. My advice is to spread your toes out first, then grip your toes into the ground. Really grip, get that arch super strong. Think of the points on your foot as like a triangle. The 2 parts in the front, the side of your foot, the ball of your foot, and they go back into your heel to make a triangle. Think of that as the base for what you're going to be standing on. Your foot is literally holding you up. It's holding all of your body weight on the one foot. From there, you're gonna drive your knee out to the side. So we're going out. That's actually called external rotation of the knee and of the hip. The muscle that does that is the glutes. The glutes, the glutes, the glutes, what I was saying before. Clench your booty cheek super, super, super tight. You're going to then shift your weight forward onto that one foot. Bring the suspended leg next to or slightly in front of the leg that's on the ground. Notice that I don't put my leg behind, I don't let it swing, I keep my hips nice and square. From there, I just want you to learn to hold it. Just grip the floor, hold it, learn to have your arch hold up your weight. Don't let your arch drop, don't roll to the outside of your foot. I want you to hold this for as long as you can. If you're struggling way too much, you can grab onto a stick, you can grab onto the wall, onto a table, anything that's around you that you can use as stabilization. And then as you feel more confident, you can always just let go of the wall, or maybe one finger on, two fingers on, eventually work to none, and then balancing on your own. Try that on the other side. See how it goes. Exercise number 2, the deep squat hold. Remember that baby toddler thing that I was saying before? You just pop down into the squat like it's nothing. We want to get there. We want to get back to being like that. You're going to set up your feet, again, gripping your toes into the floor, the thing that we just learned about a couple of minutes ago. You're going to grip your toes into the ground. I want you to think of corkscrewing your feet out to the side. Now this is definitely a more individualized part. You can either have your feet straight forward or you can have your feet slightly turned out to the side. Your knees must follow along your toes. They must be turned out as well. I see so many knees dropping in and then you don't maintain that alignment. So if your toes are going to go out, you better promise to me that your knees will go out too. From there, you're just going to drop straight down into that squat. Okay, you know, how are we doing? Maybe you're falling back, maybe you're falling forward, maybe your spine is super rounded. This is also maybe a good learning experience to see where you're at, see where your mobility is at. You should be able to hold this position for 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 5, and without any pain. What I want you to do is just pop on down, see how long you can hold it. Maybe it's 10 seconds, maybe you go down and you drop back right away. If you drop back right away, I have some options for you. You can either take a stool, a couple pillows, anything that can kind of prop up underneath you, and you can actually sit down on that. It'll just get you eased into being in a position like that. Another option is for you to put your heels onto weights or platforms or anything that's going to lift your heel up. What that is doing is creating slack in your calf muscles. The calf muscles are the muscles on the bottom half of your lower limb, so of your legs. Those muscles, if they're too tight, they will restrict ankle mobility, meaning that you can't bend your toes up and have your ankle decrease the angle of your ankle as much as we would want at this time for this move. Let your ankles know that, you know, it's okay that we don't have this mobility right now, but I will use these weights for the time being, and then we'll work our way to lowering back down to that flat ground. And I want you to just hold this for as long as you can, then you can pop out of it. We are moving on to exercise number 3, the glute bridge. And I love the glutes. I feel like they're just such an important muscle that gets so overlooked with so many things and so many people and so many routines. What I want you to do is lie down on your back. You're going to pull your feet in, bend your knees, feet flat on the floor. You're going to reach up slightly, see if you can kind of tap your heels. When you go up into the bridge, I want you to aim for your knees being right over your heels, so like a straight line down. We're going to start with the checkpoints up, working our way all the way down to the feet. I want you to lift your arms up and you're going to place them towards the ceiling. So you're going to have your fingers facing up towards the ceiling or the sky, you know, wherever you are. Palms will be facing towards each other. I want you to reach up as high as you can. So you're like trying to reach the ceiling, like you're trying to actually touch it. That's going to help the crunch. And I'm putting that in air quotes because you are technically doing an ab crunch, but you're not doing an ab crunch. Basically, you're trying to push down your rib cage. Your core, so what I want you to do actually is take your fingers, go on your chest bone. You'll feel the bone go down, down, down. Eventually, you will feel the bony part, so the bottom of your chest bone, it'll drop off into a squishy part. If you flex and crunch, you will feel your abdominals actually turn on. Your core starts right there. What I want you to do is reach, crunch, and get that rib cage down. That's going to activate the core, the upper core if you want to call it that. From there, you're going to tuck your pelvis under. Pull your belly button down into your spine. You're gonna clench your booty cheeks, really get that activation going. Your toes are dug into the floor. Let's have a little chit chat about something quick. I see so often with glute bridges, people will pull their toes up and go onto their heels. I don't know where this myth started, or it's fine, it's fine. I have made it my job to educate people that if you actually grip your toes into the floor during a glute bridge or during any movement that you should feel your glutes, you will actually activate your glutes more than if your toes were pulled up. I do not want to see just your heels on the floor. I want you to get the whole foot on the ground. Remember that triangle thing I was saying before? Grip your toes into the ground and really lock it in. Get those arches strong. From there, you're going to hold that exact position. You will go up into the glute bridge and you will hold there. I want you to do it right now. Remember, you're staying with me, reaching up to the ceiling. Reach, reach, reach. Try to feel it. Try to get your core involved. You're going to tuck your pelvis under as much as you can. Constantly tuck. Constantly clench your booty cheeks. Dig your toes into the ground, and I want you to try to hold it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute, a minute 30, depends, see how you feel. I want you to see how long you can hold it, really getting the glutes involved. If you feel like your glutes aren't engaged, you can just drop yourself down, reset everything back up, and then pop back up into it. Moving on into exercise number 4, the jar openers. Now, since I'm so kind, I'm gonna let you use whatever jar you wanna use. Me, maybe it's a day for some PB, maybe it's a day for some jelly. Whatever it is you can use, just think of a jar. But I want you to think of a really big jar. What I want you to do is set yourself up. You're gonna be in a standing position. I want you to think of rib cage being down, squeezing your booty cheeks, toes in the floor, of course, the toes, the toes, the toes. From there, I want you to stretch your arms out to the sides, about shoulder height, or if it's too much to go up to shoulder height, you can drop down slightly just to get our bearings, just to get our feet wet with these. What we're doing is an external rotation of the humerus bone. That bone is this bone in between your elbow and your shoulder. The humeral head is in the shoulder socket. It's called a ball and socket joint. You actually have a huge range of motion within this shoulder girdle. It's honestly amazing what range of motion you can get if you do things properly. What I want to do is work on external rotation, basically rotating that bone open. I want you to think of grabbing the jelly jars right next to you. You're going to open them outwards, trying to get the inside of your elbows to face forward or up to the ceiling, almost like you're trying to take your triceps and wrap them around the other side. Whatever visual works for you, I want you to think that. I want you to get it in, get it down so that you can use that for other moves. Just so you know where this move can go, you can actually open the jars wherever they are. So if you're forward, you can open the jar there. If you're down, you can open the jar there. If you are overhead, like an overhead shoulder press, you're opening that jar. You want to constantly open. Once you get this concept down, I want you to open the jar, hold it for a little bit, see if anyone wants anything in it, and then you're gonna close the jar back up. Then again, open up the jar, close the jar back up. Another cueing that I want you to work on is to imagine that the jars are just in reach. So I want you to think of having to reach a little bit to touch them. That will actually drop your shoulders away from your ears. And the whole point of this, again, is external rotation of the humerus bones. And we're working on sitting the scapula, aka the shoulder blades, underneath the armpits. That will keep a nice open space for you to have freer range of motion and be able to stabilize your shoulder as much as possible, especially as we load on heavier weights, like when I gave the example of the overhead press. But once you get it down, I want you to rotate, open up the jars, hold for maybe a couple seconds, and then close the jars back up. See how many you can do. If it's too much to do 2 at a time, you can always do 1 at a time. See how it feels just getting the checkpoints down, learning to memorize the moves in your head, getting the right muscles fired, and everything working well for you to execute in other moves and building the house. Well, not the real house, like the body, your body. But again, building the house, laying down the foundation. And lastly, we are at exercise number 5. Well, time flies by when you're having fun. This is the plank. We are actually combining a decent amount that we learned today. So I want you to get down onto the floor in a tabletop position. You're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders, and you're going to place your knees underneath your hips, aiming for a nice flat back. From there, I want you to grip your fingers into the ground and then think of opening up that jar. Pretend that your fingers on the floor are holding the top of a jar, and you're going to open them out to the side. That's going to get that external rotation of that humerus bone. Remember the bone that's in between our elbow and our shoulder, the one that has the bicep and the tricep, to rotate, open, and get the shoulder in a nice position, the shoulder blade, the shoulder girdle, that whole area. As you do that, I want you to push your chest away from the floor. I want you to aim for your shoulder blades to separate as far away from your spine as you can, really pushing away from the ground, thinking of the middle of your back going up towards the ceiling. You're going to push your face away from the floor as well. I want you to think of making a double chin. Think of someone taking the top of your head and pulling it in front of you. So you're pulling your head towards something in front. And I want you to really make that double chin. I mean, do we want double chins? No, but you have to make them in order to retract your neck and keep everything nice and aligned. From there, you're going to tuck your pelvis. One leg will go back at a time. You're going to be in that nice plank position. You don't have to move around. Don't mess around with the form. A lot of people will be like, Mom, let me just like change this around. I'll just shift here, shift there. No, I'm placing you in the exact spot that you should be. You know that whole trust thing? Just trust me, I got you. Once you have both legs back, one at a time, you're going to tuck your pelvis under. You're going to clench your booty cheeks super, super, super tight. Really clench them. And then you're going to pull your belly button up into the spine. So if this is a newer move for you, you might be able to hold it for 10 seconds, maybe 20, maybe 30. I want you to go for as long as you can. If you feel like you're pretty decent at this move and you feel really good, I want you to try to maybe work up to a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. See what works best for you. Remember, we're all on different journeys. These are basic moves that you can build upon. As you are holding this plank, having pain in your wrist is super common. So if you are struggling way too much, maybe you're not knowing how to grip the floor properly, maybe your wrists aren't as mobile as what you would want to be right now, I actually have a follow along mobility sequence that will help increase the range of motion in your wrist, really teach you how to strengthen your hands, strengthen your flexors, so that when you go into a plank, you don't have any pain. I'm gonna pop that here for you so you can check it out, see if it works for you, and then translate it back to the planks that we're learning today. And those are all 5 moves for today. All 5 moves that you should be doing. I want to see you doing it. I want you to let me know how they worked out for you. Leave a comment below. Again, remember, you can always click the link in my description. It'll pop you over to my site, and you can get in contact with me if you'd like to work one-on-one. I can cater these moves more to you, more to your program, more to your regimen, routine, whatever you are currently doing. Thank you so much for watching and allowing me to actually teach you how to do these moves. I really appreciate it. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!